Shalom Aleichem, everyone. Hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful week. This week is Parshas Re'eh. And as we saw in Parshas Shmini, once again in Parshas Re'eh, we have the halachos of kashrus, the animals you're not allowed to eat, the animals you're allowed to eat, the simane kashrus, all restated once again as we saw in Parshas Shmini. Here also, though, you'll take a close look and you'll notice that there's a contrast, and that certain, even within the kosher animals, there's certain parts of kosher animals that we're not allowed to eat. We're not allowed to eat the chelev. We'll discuss that in a moment. And the Torah tells us in our parasha we can't partake of the dam. And that perhaps these prohibitions, even within kosher animals, perhaps gives us insight into what the laws of kashrus are really, really all about. Because yes, we're allowed to eat basar, we're allowed to eat meat. There's a dispensation, certain animals we're allowed to eat meat, but even within those animals, we need of course, to do a proper shchita, a kosher shchita. And then after the shchita is done, we are prohibited from consuming the dam and the chelev. A direct contrast to karbanos. When it comes to karbanos, of course, we need a proper shchita. It is a zevach that has shchita. And then we take the chelev, and it's the chelev specifically that is offered on the mizbeach. The chelev of the animal is brought as a karban. The chelev is for Hashem, mizbeach, and not for us. And then the dam, we collect the dam of the karban and we sprinkle it once again on the mizbeach. So there seems to be a direct correlation between the laws of the karbanos, that which goes to Hashem, the mizbeach, and the laws of kashrus that we are allowed to consume. And perhaps this is telling us a core insight. The chelev is always seen in Chazal as the choicest parts of the meat, the fattiest parts of the meat, which was a good thing. So that belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's not for us. In other words, inherent in achila, even achilas basar, is a mitzvah to say, we're not going to take the best. We're not going to take the choicest. The choicest goes to Ribono Shel Olam. That's an important Musar Haskel, is that yes, we're allowed to partake of meat, but even within that achila, we have to go ahead and identify that which belongs to Ribono Shel Olam and that which we can consume. Of course, there's also matnos kahuna that get taken care of as well. And then, ki hadam hu hanefesh. Dam is the life force of the organism, of a human being, of a behemoth. If one studies Hilchos Shabbos and one studies the Malach of Chovel, extracting blood, so according to most Rishonim, or many Rishonim at least, the Isra of Chavala is an Isra of Netilas Neshama, Ki Hadam Hu HaNefesh. That's Rabbi Natam's position, Masech Shabbos, on Daf Ayin Daled, and that also appears later on in Perek Shmona Shvatzim, Ki Hadam Hu HaNefesh. This is the life force. When it comes to the life force, that's not for us. That's not for us. That also belongs to Ribono Shel Olam. That's what we sprinkle on the Mizbeach. That life force of the organism goes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And I think this connection, that which is Hashem's, that which is ours, perhaps illuminates all achila in general, and certainly achilas basar behema, and that is that it too is endowed with kedusha. And just like we take those kosher animals and we use them as karbanos, so then the leftover, yes, we can eat, but that achila also has to be informed and elevated to a status of holiness. Not the chelev. The chelev belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The dam, ki adam nefesh, that too belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And even that which is left over, that we can partake of, that too has to be endowed with, it's a carbon, it's a potential carbon, it has to be endowed with a sense of kedusha. So may we learn these lessons of achilas basar, that dispensation, but yes, within the context of kedusha and really about kedusha, in order to elevate all aspects of our lives, both certainly the ruchnis, but even the gashmis. Have an excellent Shabbos Kodesh.